When I think of Donald Trump as president, at this moment, I think of all that we've lost. And I know a lot of the Trump faithful will say, well, what have we really lost? Well, I was watching the PBS NewsHour, which I do often, and I heard this, and it just rang so true and made my heart hurt for all we have lost as a nation.
One thing I want to point out, Judy, at the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis, when the world stood at the brink, the Soviet and America, over the Cuban missiles in Cuba, President Kennedy sent Dean Acheson, the former Secretary of State, to see General Charles de Gaulle to tell him exactly, brief him personally as the president's emissary on what was going on. At the end of that talk, he said to General de Gaulle, I've been authorized by the president to show you the photographic evidence we have, and for your eyes only. And General de Gaulle said, no, that's not necessary. All I need is the word of the President of the United States. There comes a time in every administration when you need the president to be credible, the president to have the trust and confidence of leaders around the world at a time of crisis. And I can see no reason that anybody would ever say this about Donald Trump. All I need is the word of the President.
A lot of Trump supporters will say, why does his tweets matter? Why do they matter? It's not a big deal. That's how he communicates directly with the people. That story you just heard, that's history. That's facts. It's not alternative facts, and it matters. Now here is why that trust and belief in the integrity of the office of the president has been damaged.
The tweet last Saturday was so grave. I mean, this is the 45th president of the United States accusing the 44th president of the United States of criminal activity.
Right.
And with no basis, no evidence, no context, no witnesses, nothing. And 30 minutes later, he tweets again about Arnold Schwarzenegger's ratings on Celebrity Apprentice. He has just jeopardized the relationship between the president who preceded him. Every president needs other presidents. They need a relationship, but he's just done something so grave and inflicted such a major wound on the body politic, it won't heal.
This is quite serious. This is an unfolding, ongoing ethics disaster at the highest levels.
As Americans, what our president says matters. And his credibility should be sacrosanct, not questioned by anyone. And right now, we are in a position where that's just not true. No one in the Trump administration is believed when they say anything. We've had too many lies, too many alternative facts, too many things that they've said that as they say them, we know they're not true. And then there's this.
I mean, are we looking now at something that is just going to go on for months and months, if not years?
Well, I think we're seeing that self-investigation through the Attorney General is not going to be useful in this case. Someone is going to have a real inquiry here. You could do a select committee, you could do a special prosecutor, you do some other voice of authority here. I mean, the FBI doesn't have a huge amount of credibility, particularly given what Comey did in the election, which may have helped Trump more than the Russians did. I think the administration, whenever you hear the phrase Sean Spicer says, it makes the statement more incredible, not more credible. And I think that we have a Congress that's quite politicized on this set of issues. We're going to need some type of independent voice to determine what's happening in this case.
So in closing on this random and not so random thought about integrity at the White House and about how our president, Donald Trump, jeopardizes that, I'm gonna repeat one part of that last section and then I'll be right back.
whenever you hear the phrase Sean Spicer says, it makes the statement more incredible, not more credible. And I think that we have a Congress that's quite politicized.
No one can deny what he just said. No one believes anything Sean Spicer says. No one believes anything Donald Trump says. No one believes anything that Kelly Conway says. No one believes anything that Stephen Miller says, and in fact, he scares people. So, when you look at the administration, if we were to have a major crisis right now, who would believe anything that the Trump administration says? Right now, we have a crisis of integrity at the White House. And that has to be resolved, and it has to be resolved quickly. Because we are in a position where our government worldwide, when it says something, it will not be believed without independent, verified, credible proof. America has never been in this position before. And I don't know how we're going to get out of where we are now, except going forward, having an administration that when they speak, people will listen because they speak the truth. And I don't think that can happen with the Donald Trump administration. I think this administration is done. Losing trust only takes a moment. Regaining trust takes an indeterminate amount of time. And sometimes you never regain that trust. So I think the Donald Trump administration has lost the trust of the American people in the world until the next administration in 4 years takes office. Now, there are people who have trusted Donald Trump from the beginning. They're unshaken in their devotion to Donald Trump, and I will tell them that it is misplaced. And I'm going to leave you with the one thing that inspired me to make this video, and that will end my random and not so random thoughts on the integrity of not only President Donald Trump, but his entire lying and corrupt administration.
One thing I want to point out, Judy, at the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis, when the world stood at the brink, the Soviet and America, over the Cuban missiles in Cuba, President Kennedy sent Dean Acheson, the former Secretary of State, to see General Charles de Gaulle to tell him exactly, brief him personally as the president's emissary on what was going on. At the end of that talk, he said to General de Gaulle, I've been authorized by the president to show you the photographic evidence we have, and for your eyes only. And General de Gaulle said, no, that's not necessary. All I need is the word of the President of the United States. There comes a time in every administration when you need the president to be credible, the president to have the trust and confidence of leaders around the world at a time of crisis. And I can see no reason that anybody would ever say this about Donald Trump. All I need is the word of the President.